Hi, this is Jeff Hansen with Keller Williams Real Estate. I want to talk today about the 7 deadly sins of buying a condo. It sounds scary, but that's just to grab attention. But on a serious note, I was thinking, what are the elements that a buyer should be most concerned about when considering the purchase of a condo? And I've been a realtor for 18 years. I've specialized in condos for almost that entire period. And I would want to give you a few points of guidance for what you should be concerned about. My thought process is, what have I noticed in the past that people may have regretted in a property where they purchased? So, deadly sin number 1 is noise. Now, noise can come from either a neighbor or from the neighborhood or street. Neighbor, the best way to find out about that is if you happen to know someone in the building or your realtor has dealt with a sale in the building before. Also, while you're in escrow or while you're looking at the property, going to the unit different times and just seeing what you hear. Also, oftentimes if there's a noise issue, that may come up in the newsletters that are sent out to owners, and that's something you'll have to review while you're in escrow if the complex has newsletters, and all the bigger complexes certainly do. Noise from the street or the area is certainly something a seller should disclose to you, but it's also relevant for you and your agent to proactively, when you're at the property, try different times. If it's by the train track, discover when does the train go by. Ideally, if it's something that's regularly scheduled, like the light rail, be there long enough that you can hear the light rail go by. Number 2 deadly sin is parking. Now, this might seem obvious. You want to find out how many parking spots there are. You definitely want to know how many deeded spots are included with the purchase of your condo, but in addition to that, you want to find out what's the visitor parking like. I would actually look at the spot where your deeded parking spot is. Sometimes you realize that one location of a condo has a much better convenient spot to the elevator, or to, if it's outdoors, less walking in the rain, which is great. So parking is a factor that you're going to appreciate or not appreciate once you're there, so check it out early on. Number 3, 7 deadly sin, is the owner occupancy rate. So that's just the percent of all the units. If there are 100 units and 30 are rented, that's a 30% tenant rate or a 70% owner occupancy rate. This is going to be relevant for getting a loan. And if it's too low, anything below 50% is really a problem. Above 50 is okay. And this ties into number 4 on my list, which is if there are any rental restrictions. So many homeowner associations have rental restrictions, and even if you're purchasing as an owner-occupant, if you may move out in the future and rent out the property, you definitely want to know if there's going to be restrictions so you can plan for that. Rental restrictions are a good idea because they limit the number of tenants, but if that limit's already been met, and a lot of the condos downtown, for example, do have restrictions and they've been met, it means they have a waiting list of people to rent them out. So that's something you'd want to know up front before getting involved. Number 5 is litigation. Litigation is super common. Many complexes go through it because there's a 10-year statute of limitations. After 10 years, you can never go after the builder for anything that could ever go wrong with the property. So during that 10 years, many HOAs do sue the builder for construction defects and for anything that could ever happen in the future, because after the 10 years, you're stuck. So if the complex is in litigation or contemplated litigation, it's a big factor. If it's in litigation, you essentially can't get financing. Only an all-cash buyer can purchase. If it's contemplated, the way that we would know that is either that your agent has knowledge of other people that live there, or it may well be, again, in the newsletters that you'll get a copy of as part of your due diligence with the HOA package once you're in escrow. But the sooner you find out, the better. Connected to that is financial stability. How financially stable is the complex? This huge package you'll get to look through, you and your agent to look through diligently, is filled with information about recent budgets for the HOA, how much money they have in reserves, also information about whether they're contemplating a special assessment. If they are, or if there's one currently, that's something to definitely get negotiated with the seller. You don't want to buy a place and then find out there's a big surprise. You're going to get a bill in the mail. That's the last thing you want. And then last on my list for the 7 deadly sins is the ability or limitation of doing improvements. Maybe you buy a condo and you love hardwood floors. If that's the case, that's an example of something you want to check out ahead of time, because many condos have limitations on hardwood specifically because of noise and weight. And only certain floors can have hardwood and others can't. Are there limitations on a big remodel, or if you want to add a wall to a property or take out a wall? what's possible. You want to find that out beforehand. Anything you'd contemplate changing about the property, check it out now while you still have time, not when it's too late after you buy. If you follow and don't get stuck with one of the 7 deadly sins, you'll be 7 kinds of happy. That's how I look at it. Any other questions you have, feel free to text or call me on my cell phone, which is 408-506-0400, or you can click through on my website, kingcondo.com, and email me from there. Thanks, have a great day.